started out small to a real bond. Cause we're brothers first. Cause we're been through a lot, but it ain't over. We gon' keep it.
You'll always be with me.
Change the game without even knowing.
And you'll always be my brother.
Yeah, whatever. I hope your family dies in an automobile wreck. Hello.
Good here.
Yeah, we can hear you now.
All right, so I'm in.
Yeah, so it's just way quicker if you like tell us here, because I'm assuming you don't type like too fast.
No, it's on a phone. That's why.
Yeah, so you said you've known Jody for like 30 years or something?
Yeah, pretty much his whole life, except he was born before me. So
you don't sound like you have like a South Carolina accent.
Yeah, I live right down the street from him. He only stays like 2 roads over from me.
Do you know his address? I mean, we know his. I mean, this is like public knowledge, but
he lives on Dongola.
Dongola Highway. Yeah. Okay.
Yep.
I mean,
and
that's
he's right
like
down
really
the street
public knowledge.
from Sarah Jean.
But yeah.
So you went to what was it, Conway High School?
No. See, when I was in middle school, 7th grade, my home when I lived in Conway, I was staying at Park Hill Drive, which is right behind the Kmart shopping center. And Hurricane Floyd flooded that house, so we moved to the Ainer School District at that time. My mother and his mother were still friends, so I was all over there, once, twice a month on the weekends, or 2 to 3 times a week, depending on how often my mother and his mother hung out. So I went to Ainer High School.
Okay, and you met Jody just from the interaction between his mother and your mother.
Yeah, we stayed over a lot because my mother figured since there was 2 boys there that I'd have somebody to play with, type shit.
Yeah.
But we ended up being friends, me and Kenneth, more than me and Jordy, because Jordy's kind of a fucking bully.
Well, he's also, he's like very antisocial, that you like confirmed.
Yeah.
Yeah, Kenneth, even videos that we've seen of Kenneth, sorry to interrupt. I was just saying that Kenneth, there's videos they release of him in the Army, and he's got all these boys around him. He's very social.
Yeah, I love Kenneth. He's a good guy, man.
So are you actually like friends with Kenneth on Facebook? I assume you would be.
No, I don't have Facebook.
Don't have, okay.
Yeah, I'm not very tech. I actually avoid tech, and it's been kind of a thing with me my whole life.
What led you to make a Discord to communicate with us?
All right, so I do a lot of YouTube, and it came to my attention fairly recently, within the past year, that Jordy was being trolled, and at first I was like, kind of went to the defense of the guy because I know him, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But then it was like little things that I would hear through my mother interacting with his mother and knowing his brother and people that hang out with him and his sister. I know his sister well. Things started pinging in my ears that was like, this shit's real, and he really does. It's not an act, but it is. At first, it started as some kind of a fucking mask because he was a streamer and because he needed this outlandish personality to try and make people like him. And now it's at a point where
it's not
a fucking character. This is literally who he is, man. And it's fucking, I want to say that he's doing it on fucking purpose, but I can't even I can't even fucking bring that out.
Well, it should tell you something. This is just things that we know, like common knowledge, that after him abandoning not only his grandma's funeral,
Yeah, do you
which is
know he
crazy to know
didn't
that
turn up?
you knew her. Yeah, he ended up streaming instead of going to the funeral, which his whole family knew about. And then the grandma wanted him to keep Daisy, the little Chihuahua.
Yeah.
He ended up not taking care of Daisy, threw her out the house. Just didn't want
threw
out anything that had to do with grandma.
That was like her dying wish. That she wanted
Actually, I think
Daisy.
the sister's taking care of Daisy now.
Yeah, she does have that dog.
Yeah, so but that's as of right now, from what we know, and then what he's publicly displayed, he's had to tell his nephews happy birthday through stream because his family has cut him off completely. I don't know about Kenneth, that's brotherhood right there, so I can't really talk on that. But for the rest, I know there's some bad blood going on.
Well, yeah, and the weirdest thing for me and what made me reach out really is the rumors about because there was rumors going around through the family about possible sexual assault on his sister.
Really? Okay. We haven't heard of that
being a big meaning behind Sabrina kicking him out to go to his grandmother's house.
Like, who did you hear that from?
I doubt came right out of my mother's lips from his mom.
Okay.
That he had either said I believe that he said something extremely inappropriate, and when he was called on it by Sabrina, when she confronted him about what he'd said, he said that he didn't care what he said because what he said wasn't a fucking lie. And it was some fucking straight up inappropriate shit to be saying about your 13-year-old sister.
So and he said that in the past when she was 13. How old was he at the time if she was 13?
This was like 2015, 2016 maybe.
Okay. So only like 5 years ago.
Yeah, because no, because she's fucking 23 now, so it fucking was before that then. I'm trying to remember.
13 at the time, basically.
Yeah, she was 13, 14 at the time. Okay. And then the only interactions I had was whenever Kenneth was around, because I was Kenneth's buddy, and whenever I had time to get down to Conway from Painter, I came out and I fucking chilled, And
yeah,
when Kenneth went overseas, his sister reached out to me, and she was very young, and I was like, no, thank you, and I stopped fucking going around. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So around that time is whenever all of that shit happened. It was right before that Jordy got booted to his grandmother's house over whatever the fuck happened there. You know what I'm saying? Nobody confirms or denies what the real reason behind it was, but my mother, who's his mother's best friend, I'm assuming wouldn't tell me a lie about it.
What was said? Do you know what was said? Like, could you just repeat it, like, just this once?
No, my mother said that it wasn't something that she felt comfortable even saying.
And he said that to his sister?
Supposedly. Like I said, man, I didn't.
It's a rumor coming from
but it's
your
a
mother.
hell of a damn source for a rumor. Just saying.
Yeah, your mum's known his mum for 30 years, right?
Yeah, a long ass time. They still know each other. My mother talks to her almost every day after work. Yeah.
So this is like a trusted source.
Yeah.
Well, there's been stuff in the past with his streaming career that's made us think that he's a pedo.
And he very well could. He very well could be, because of a lot of this, like I said, a lot of the shit that he had said in the past when we were kids and shit jives a lot with some of the shit that he says now. And back in the day, I chalked a lot of what he was saying up to, he's just a dude who ain't very cool, so he has to say this shit. So we think he's cool and shit, you know? Like the kid, you know, everybody had the friend in school, or the young kid in school that was their friend that would talk shit about killing animals or shit like that. Everybody has that fucking one guy that's just like, he's overtly creepy in a fucking ironic sense.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I felt like that was what his personality was. He was just kind of saying it to say it. And then now with a lot of the shit he says when he's an adult, it really fucking kind of makes you think, like, is this dude gonna one day just fucking go murder his wife and off himself? I mean, is he
that's
the type of person?
We're trying to. We just got yesterday confirmation. He essentially told us that he would choose streaming any day over Kelly.
Of course. We had this convo with him like for an hour.
The only reason, listen, I heard through the grapevine that the only reason that they even are a thing, get this, he supposedly made a deal with her that if she married him, he had some property to give, right?
Right.
So, like, kind of like bait and switch. He didn't have shit to give, but he kind of led her to believe he did. And now they're just stuck in this, like, well, even if I divorce him, I won't get shit fucking hole. And she's heavy trolling on the dude. She's heavy trolling him, like, all the time. I bumped into her at Walmart one time, and she went on a 20-minute tirade about how he's a fucking disgusting pig, and he stinks, and when he sleeps, he fucking snores, and how uncomfortable it is fucking living with the guy. Like, like, why in the fuck are you married?
The more details, the better. By the way, if you're telling us
that's the fucking case, you know. And then there's the rumor about her cheating. Then there's rumors about her cheating.
What?
And I mean, it's like
Conway or like online, because there's
like the online shit. I mean, come on, dude. She's not out there tricking or anything. I don't think, but for sure she's talking to other people. I mean,
yeah, she's floated around online. I mean, last night he was trying to. I myself am married, and he was telling me that it's normal for him to see Kelly flirt right in front of him.
That's not normal. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I mean, not for a married person.
And she's, I mean, I'd say it's about mutual. I feel like the marriage was to get at each other, really.
I think Jordy really just needed somebody, and he was desperate, so he doesn't really care if it's real love.
Yeah, well, and he also wants a little bit of a tax break, because if he's married and his wife's there as a burden, he can claim more tax money and pay less. And
people were saying it was for health insurance. That
all she has to do is do a basic 9 to 5 for 25 hours, and he can just piggyback off her health insurance. Yeah, man, I'm telling you, he doesn't do anything that wouldn't benefit him.
Is this common in Conway?
Common?
Yeah.
Like
just in and at least not just Conway, but in the surrounding areas, that something that it's common for people to do.
You mean like marry for insurance purposes?
Yeah,
no,
marry for just
like
benefits.
Thing. That's not like a thing that people do. It's normally, it's like, because we have those horrible laws here, we still have a couple horrible laws on the books about marriage between gay people here. So, like, the same-sex marriage shit is about the only thing that you really have issue with here. But no, I guess not fucking.
It
feels like to me that was the reason why he did it.
You really met Kelly like 2 weeks ago at Walmart, and she started shitting on Wings.
I bumped into her 2 weeks ago. Me and my wife bumped into her and him less than a month ago. And she was, at that time, she made a couple jokes in the couple minutes we were kind of sitting there chatting about his fucking dick pic that got leaked.
If you don't
What
mind
did-
me,
what
like
did she
just
say?
for verification, wait, just for verification, all right? Like I'm trusting your word, but I just want to know just for verification, just know you're legit. The Walmart. Do you mind telling me which Walmart it was?
It's the Walmart on 501 on West Conway
Okay, gotcha.
because he lives closer to that area. Yeah.
Anyway, so
You're
sorry
right.
if you don't mind. Like, can you like give us details of what you guys spoke about? Like you were saying, she was talking. She actually spoke to you about like his dick pic. That's
Yeah, well, she brought it up, man.
what did she say?
I was asking him, I was like, "Hey, what you been into, dude?" And she just like was like, "Well, he's recently he's getting like bad shit because of some dick pic that he supposedly sent to a girl." And he was like super uncomfortable about the whole fucking conversation. You could tell because like she was dude. She was trolling him right in front of his face. It was kind of pathetic in a way, but I mean, if you deserve it, you deserve it. Shit, but
Well, like IRL, or have you seen the videos online?
oh, I haven't seen very much of the stuff online. I saw enough of the more incriminating stuff that was featured in shit. Who the hell is that?
PK,
The No, it was what troll? What troll is it?
Conway
W
Whale
double o
Watchers.
seven.
Oh,
Double o
okay,
seven.
right, okay. So she was
And
trolling him in real life, then, from what
oh
you're
yeah,
saying.
oh yeah.
What did she
I
say?
told
Like,
I because I oh
we,
she
we
was just
want to
kind
know
of
details, basically. If like,
she was making light of the dick pics, but in doing so, she was like size shaming him, like right to our face. Like,
she did say that online as well.
why would
She
you even?
refused to say it was big.
She said it was what was it? She said it was like why in the hell would someone send a dick pic like that anyways? Like if you've got something to show off, you send it, type vibe. I was like, what the fuck? She's like saying this shit right about him, right in front of us. My wife would never say shit like that. It don't matter if I've got a fucking cocktail weenie between my legs. My wife, if you asked her, she'd be like, yeah, it's as big as my arm and I can't handle it. So just saying. Like, you're married, bro. You're married. Your wife would never say some shit like that to people in public.
I mean, I'm laying it down. Richard's got the low T, so I feel bad. I feel bad for her. Did she by any chance ever mention anything like that? To you? Did she? I mean, I know that's a little more private, intimate. But did she joke around with that as well?
What about the low T thing?
No, I mean
The,
probably just that she's probably like, oh, like she's never seen his dick or anything like that.
no, she didn't say that. I mean, she was harshing him. She wasn't like fucking trying to trash him down. I mean, yeah, I don't know, man. To me, it just seems like they're both at each other to get something out of the fucking relationship. She's probably got her own motives. She's got her little TikTok thing going. She probably just got on him because he had a little clout at the time, trying to boost her.
She said that she said she's like trying to take off on it or something.
No, she didn't say that, but I mean, she had shit really as far as a social media presence, and then now she's got a TikTok and she's starting to like jump in on his live streams and shit. She knows that the trolls are clipping her.
Do you mean like a Twitter, or do you actually mean TikTok?
I think it's a TikTok that she has.
Okay.
Yeah, we're just asking because he's kind of been very by he I mean Wings. He's been very like prohibiting her and him from using TikTok just because they don't want to get in trouble.
Yeah.
Well, that doesn't mean that she doesn't have an alternative account or something that she's probably not posting her face on.
Yeah, I mean it's possible Wings has TikTok and these allegations are true. Because just like 2 months ago, I'm not sure.
I don't know why he wouldn't have TikTok. He's a content creator and he knows that he can use those platforms. So why wouldn't he? That's my argument all day.
Do you know that 2 months ago he claimed to he claimed to want the age of consent to be 12 in Conway?
that was one of the videos that I saw that was, because I heard the rumors about things he had said to his sister and her age, and then he says shit like this.
Yeah.
And I'm like, did he really my question is, did he really fucking mean it and he did some shit, or is this the mask? You know what I'm saying? Is this his fucking fake personality he's built?
I mean, I could let it pass if it was one time, but this isn't the only time. There's been multiple things over the years.
Right.
That's what I'm saying.
Don't
and a person
usually
who
have
says
this sort of exposure.
Person who says those things that many times, it has to be something that's a consistent part of them.
Would you say? I mean, look, we're not psychologists, right? I will not confirm to be one, but you have, I guess there's a difference between online persona, but after yesterday, him saying that he would absolutely choose anything else over his wife, would you say, you being with him, he's more of a narcissist?
Narcissism being what it is, like not giving a fuck about nobody else, is more psychopathic than anything.
Yeah.
And I do feel like that's the way he is, because he really don't give no fucks about like family ties or any of that. So if he's willing to talk shit even to his mom and even to his grandma and to everybody, then he's going to talk shit, especially to people who aren't fucking kin to him. And honestly, I would say that the trolling and the back talk and a lot more of the abusive, not really physical abuse stuff, but the mental abuse stuff, most definitely happens in that house. Has to.
When was the last time that you how old would you say more or less he was the last time that you ever associated with him, and or even all this stuff with his sister? How would you say more or less he was?
At the time when all that stuff was happening, the rumors with his sister, that was around the time that I worked with him at Domino's. And he got me the job delivering, and the Domino's on 16th Avenue in Conway. And it used to be the corner building, but they've recently moved it. But it's still in that same strip mall, it's just in a different suite. But
by the way,
he got me the job
delivering pizza, because he claimed to get shot delivering pizza for Domino's.
No, we never got shot. We've definitely had people pull guns on us up here. It gets wild on Memorial Day, just saying, but he never got shot.
Did he just deliver pizza, or did he make pizzas?
He delivered pizzas. He didn't make any of them. He said he wouldn't want to do that. Yeah, he said he'd never do that. That he'd rather just take the boxes to the door and get the tip.
Well, now last night he said that he'd rather shoot himself in the head than get up and work.
Yeah.
So that's absolutely.
Yeah. Well, I mean that sounds pretty fucking on par. I'm just gonna say, because he basically said the same thing with Domino's. He left Domino's to go work for some factory. It was a factory in Conway, and they do like brass fittings or some shit. Was it Met Glass? Yes, it was. I thought it was Braco, but I wasn't for sure. But he went to work at one of these fucking places, and he was there like a month. And then he said he couldn't fucking take it, that his knees and his back was hurting all the time. And he had like 900 excuses of why he wouldn't go back to work. And then I remember this because I was there when this happened. His mom was arguing with him because he wanted her to pay his truck payment. And she was like, you need to just go get your fucking job back at Domino's. And he was like, I don't want to fucking do that shit. I've got streaming and that money should be enough. And then she was like, well, if that's enough, then you should be able to pay your own fucking truck payment. And then it was like a big fucking argument, like right while I was there, it's so fucking awkward, but that shit like that was commonplace. And then the shit happened with his sister, which made me not want to even go around over there no more, because, I'm a bit older than his sister. His sister was interested and I wasn't. So I left and didn't really ever really hang around over there until after she moved out with her husband. She has a kid now, doing pretty good. But
And
Jordy,
you said Jordy, like when he started streaming, his room would smell, like the whole house would smell.
oh shit, dude! One time I went over there to hang with Kenneth, and I was helping him install airbags on his truck because he used to have this fucking S10 with a little skid plate and shit. And while I was there, I went in the house to use the bathroom. I wasn't even like really wanting to go in the house at all. I went in the house to use the bathroom, and it was like as soon as you open the door, you could smell sweat.
God.
It just smells like sweat, you know, like a fucking like a locker room at a gym, you know. It just smelled like fucking sweat, like perspiration. And if you went in his room, it smelled like not really BO. I guess the guy used a lot of fucking deodorant, but it doesn't do
like
very
Old
much
Spice?
for your clothes. You know, when you wear clothes for a while, how they get that kind of fucking
That
body stink. It's not really
Yeah.
BO, but it's like, yeah, you know what I'm saying. And that's what the whole
Yeah.
fucking hallway near his bedroom smelled like. And he was always in the fucking chair, and he was always up at the computer screen every fucking time I went over there. I mean, I swear to God, I took Kenneth home from a bar. It was like 3:00 in the morning. We went in there, and he was in the fucking chair, like half asleep and shit. You know, like he didn't even have a bed in his bedroom for a while, bro.
What?
He just sat like in the computer room, just
In
playing.
the fucking chair, bro. He would sleep up in that fucking chair, man. I'm not even fucking joking. Yeah.
You can,
And every time you went to see him, you know, if I popped in and I was saying hey to everybody, I made sure I said hey to him because, you know, it's fucking polite. But every time you say something to the dude, he's got some bullshit to say.
yeah.
One time
or
he
he'd be
attacked
like,
me.
mhm.
He attacked
Yeah,
you.
one time he attacked me because I told him I voted for Trump. He said that I was a fucking that I was an elitist and I supported fucking capitalism over human rights or some shit. And I'm like, oh my God, what the fuck?
But he
Really?
didn't he host a MAGA party?
Yeah. And then he fucking he pulled a gun on his fucking stepdad.
Yep.
Because see, his moms were married. He pulled a fucking gun on his stepdad over him having a fucking Trump flag on his porch.
Well,
So,
the way
wait, he pointed a gun at somebody?
gun. Well, he said that he pointed. I recall him mentioning he pulled a gun on his stepfather because he claimed it was abuse towards his mother.
Yeah, right. I've
So
known,
it
dude.
was
That
just
guy,
over a
that guy
MAGA?
is so nice to Sabrina. That guy, that dude's a very nice man. I've met him a bunch of times. He
So,
is
I gotta
hella
tell you
nice.
something that's really confusing me. Not because we don't believe you, but the way Richard, or we call him Richard, the way he's told the story, he said that his stepfather was the one that has molested Sabrina. He said that his stepfather is the one that is aggressive towards his mother. You know, so the way you're kind of mentioning it, it's almost like he's releasing his personal experiences off on his stepfather.
Well, why not? You know?
I mean, if he got kicked out by his mum, he must have done something.
Yeah, exactly.
ever-
And
you know-
that dude didn't kick him out. His mom did.
You know,
The dude ain't never done nothing to Jordy but be with his mom. You know what I'm saying?
he never used to support Bernie, right? He used to be like a racist when he was younger, right?
Oh, I mean, you know how it is, dude. It's shock factor with a lot of people. Some people use that word outside of context in a group of people just so they sound edgy. So, I mean, I heard that word constantly. I mean, Conway's no stranger to those type of shit, but I overlooked it as like him just, like I said, him trying to be cool, people trying to sound cool.
He used
You
to
know,
say
there was
nigger a
always
lot,
the white
didn't he,
kids
though?
in school.
He did used
Oh,
to
yeah,
say the
most
N-word a lot.
He did legit have a dog that he called that.
He had a dog. Did he call it that? Because he said,
Yeah. No,
he said his grandfather
would
had
call
a
it
dog.
that.
He would call it that.
Yeah, it was either his or his grandpa's dog. I knew it was at Sarah Jean's house, and that's what they called that dog. It was a little black Chihuahua dog.
And did his grandfather shoot a black man? Because he said his grandfather killed a black guy on his porch.
Bro, I'm going to say this. The area where Dongulla is called Bucksville. And Bucksville and Bucksport are the most dangerous and violent areas in Horry County. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, that's pretty.
And it gets pretty bad out here. We've had drive-by shootings and shit. Had people just found shot and laid on the road and stuff. Yeah. So,
I gotta ask to get some clarity on this. When you say it's a Chihuahua, do you recall just a little puppy, or you recall that it was a Chihuahua?
It was a black dog that they called that word. That's all I remember about it, because I had another friend named Kevin.
To show off, he said it was a Rottweiler, which, those are big, heavy dogs. So it'd be hilarious if it actually this whole time was just a Chihuahua.
From what I recall from his grandmother, the only dogs that she allowed in the house was the little tiny dogs. So she had 2 to 3 Chihuahuas pretty much the entire time she was alive that I can recall.
She called the dog the same thing.
No, she didn't call it that. Her husband, whatever the fuck his name, Carl Peavy, I think it was his name. I never really went much to Sarah Jean's house, so I didn't know him well before he passed. But the times that I was there, I recall him saying that dog's name that way. And Jordy and Kenneth would joke around and call the dog that as well. It was, that's what made me believe it was just like some kind of off, you know what I mean? Like an off joke that, people tell. As
Bongo, right? The dog they keep outside.
I don't recall any dog being outside. I know that I think they have a dog that they keep in a crate inside. I haven't seen their dog. I haven't been personally to his home inside of his house. Let's put it that way. Since he started marrying with Kelly.
He's like what is he, like black and
Well, yeah, I don't think you know about this dog just because it's more recent, but yeah, it's like a brown blackish mutt. It's not really much. They just got it from the pound.
And Kelly used to own it, right? Kelly used to own it.
Yeah, no, I didn't see it. I've been to his house. I went to his house earlier today because I wanted to talk with him about what he may be doing for Christmas. And if he needed me to like fucking give a turkey or something like that, 'cause I know he might be doing bad on his stream revenue. And I was reaching out, because I seen the shit that was going on and how he lost his PSN. So I was going to reach out and ask if he wanted a turkey. But when I went there, he told me to come. And when I went there, he had a note on his door that said, "Do not knock, do not call, do not bother." And he had a bunch of empty boxes, like mailing boxes, the shipping boxes and stuff from the post service, not UPS or anything, but like the regular mail.
Yeah.
He had a bunch of those on the porch, and the dog barked when I came up, but nobody came out, and he had that note on the door, so I just turned around and went home.
Well,
I didn't see the dog outside.
That's actually he put that for people who send him food. They do it, fans of his. They send him food for him to eat, which he'll eat, right on the stream. But the problem is that Kelly, she's getting furious with him every time someone knocks.
Oh.
And she's threatened to leave almost because of that. So that's why he put "do not knock, do not," because then the dogs, everything, the cats go crazy too.
Well, I tried to call him while I was there, and he never answered my phone, and I literally just talked to him and asked if I could come by and talk to him.
The funny thing is, he looks down on people who are poorer than him. He's done this many times. The way he talks about people who are less fortunate, it's just despicable. Like, he just tries to act like he's this pimp living in Conway.
But I mean, he's not rolling in money. He got to give that house. His mother used to stay there. His grandmother used to stay next door. And they he basically went and lived with his grandma. When they moved, his mom already had another trailer moved that was new, and nobody was in the other one, so she let him stay there. He was paying rent for a while. I don't even know how that's still working.
I mean, he supposedly paid the mortgage off on the house, and then Sabrina remortgaged it.
No. She didn't.
He said she remortgaged
She was still
the
paying
house
for that one whenever she bought that thing. Whenever she got a settlement for getting in a head-on collision on 701. She was driving for Canteen, and a dump truck swerved. Well, actually, I think it was a log truck. Log truck swerved into her lane and hit her head on. And that was right out by, almost Dolores, between Conway and Dolores. And I remember when it happened because she broke her back and she almost died from it. It was a bad fucking wreck. And she got $879,000 or something like that out of that.
800 what?
And
How much?
Yeah, it was like, no, it wasn't that high. How much was it? It was more than $500,000. Let me tell you that.
Really? Okay.
And she paid off her trailer that she stayed in, her mom's trailer that she stayed in, bought the piece of land next door, and bought and paid for the mobile home that she set there, and also 2 other brand new vehicles that she bought. All in one swoop.
Right. And did she give Geordie any of that money? Do you know?
No.
Okay.
No, she didn't even give him the house he stays in. She says she told my mom last I heard, because I asked about this specifically because I saw it in one of the videos. I asked my mother, Mom, does Geordie own that trailer that he stays in, or is he renting it? And my mother said, quote, Sabrina would never give him that. He has to pay for it. So whatever that means, it means that he's in that trailer and he's paying his mother so that he can own that trailer.
Yeah,
eventually.
He's under the impression, which is not how deeds work. But he's under the impression he owns 25%, even though he's paid off the mortgage twice.
Yeah, okay. He hasn't paid off the mortgage at all. He's been paying his mother rent toward what the cost of her share of the mortgage was when she bought the trailer. When she used her money in the settlement to buy that trailer, it was something like $19,000 or $20-something thousand that she still had owed on it. She bought it straight out for that $19,000 or $20,000.
Wow.
So she charged Geordie pay her back what she paid for it when he wanted to move in there. So that was the agreement. He pays her until he pays off the 20 or however much thousand she paid, and then she signs it over to him. Yeah, that is the agreement. That doesn't mean he owns anything at this point because he doesn't have that deed.
Yeah, supposedly he only owns 25% of the land that it's on.
Well, maybe, but his mother
like
still
that.
holds 100% ownership until she passes, if she decides to will it to him.
So there's bad blood between them. Essentially.
Has to be, or for her to be treating him like that.
Yeah, that's true.
Which might the whole thing with his sister, right?
That could be the reason, because that was around the time that, like I said, she kicked him out of the house and made him stay with his grandmother. And he says it was because he had to go over there and take care of her, but she had nurses in and out of that house all the time. So
interesting.
If you can let me know if this is too personal for you to discuss, but we know that Kenny does have a history of drug abuse, and I don't want to get personal with you to know if you ever, used it, but was it ever used in front of Geordie in which he seemed interested or, asked about it or anything like that? Or do you even know anything about that?
I know that whenever we were teenagers, we smoked pot together.
You and Jordy.
But
anything with crystal meth?
I never did any type of hard drugs in my life. Besides, I did some cocaine when I was younger, but that was when I was off.
I'm only asking because he talks down about Kenny a lot. You know, even though Kenny's successful, has a family now,
has a real job.
He really does hammer down on the fact that Kenny fucked up his life and got hooked on crystal meth. And since you said you were friends, I was just wondering if you ever saw that and ever seen maybe Jordy be interested in it, interested in pot or anything like that.
I'll say this. He might not, from what I understand, Jordy doesn't do any type of drugs at all. From the times that we experimented with marijuana back in the day, that's the only times I can ever recall him doing any type of drug.
So you and Jordy did do meth. You did weed back in the day.
Weed, yeah, marijuana. And it was like 2 or 3 times, and me, him, and Kenneth did it, and it was like kid shit, like steal some fucking cigarettes from your parents. I found a joint, so I stole it, and we smoked it. It happens. It's what you do when you're a kid, when you're young. That's what life's about, experience, right? So when you're with your friends, that's what you do. But
do you know if he drank?
I don't,
because he claims to never have drank before. Alcohol, that is.
Well, I mean, you don't need alcohol when you're banging down like 4 or 5 monsters a day and shit.
Yeah. I want to tell you, we do really appreciate you. Giving us, talking to us. We're considered trolls, but realistically, it's like we're just trying to expose, not really expose falsehoods, but we want to. There's people out there that support him and are gladly giving him money, thinking that he's a better person. When there's a lot in between, in which we're trying to let them know, please do not give your money to this man. He's doing more harm than good.
He has some serious mental problem, in my opinion, and I've known him a long time. I feel like he has a serious mental problem, and it needs to be treated. Because I believe the streaming allows him to fuel whatever fucking delusional mask reality he wants to create. He can do that there. But the problem is like Low Tier God. I watched his interaction with Low Tier, right? I don't like to name drop, but I did. And when he was telling him to embrace the trolling and not to put his personal life out there, I was like, he can't separate the two, because it is his whole life is that delusion. Let me put it that way.
What's the delusion?
That personality is him. It's what he's created, and he believes that's what it is. That's him.
He states that they told that
he's not different when he gets offline.
Yeah.
He's not different when he gets offline. He's the same.
Would you meet with Kelly? Would you meet with Kelly again? Maybe for Christmas or anything like that? Or have you tried reaching out to Kelly?
I don't know how to reach out to her, because, like I said, I'm married, and it's not appropriate really to reach out to somebody else's wife without their knowledge. But right. I was going to attempt to try and converse with them again, with bringing them a turkey so they can have something to cook for Christmas and shit. Was going to drop that gift off in person, early Christmas present. Yeah.
Well, you did mention you're not very a social guy, so yeah, she's mostly on Twitter. That's where you'll find her.
Yeah, they don't leave the house either. Like,
not very often. No.
And
it's probably like a once every couple of weeks. He or she might go to Walmart, and it's mostly her. It was very rare that I bumped into him and her together. So,
well, he sleeps all day. But did anyone tell you about the attempted cheating?
No, I didn't know anything about that.
So, while he and her were seriously dating several months before they got married, that this was when she was getting her chemotherapy treatment. There's a guy in our community, his name was Edmonton Skeptic, and Jordy had a Plenty of Fish account, and Skeptic basically catfished him, being another woman, but Jordy was on Plenty of Fish chatting with other women while he and Kelly were seriously together. I'm not sure, but there was a time where it's like he was with her at chemotherapy treatment on his phone messaging other women.
I wouldn't doubt it any. Like I said, I think the entire relationship was just based on the benefits that he would get from it.
Right, because that's what she mentioned to you. Well, I mean, that's what she hinted to you when you met up with her at Walmart, when you ran into her.
No, she didn't mention that to me. My mother, through what Sabrina's told me, said, because Sabrina talked with her often, Jordy's mom. It's like a least thing that they talk to each other. And they had a big fight about the ownership of the trailer not too long back. And that was whenever I found out, kind of through the grapevine, that Jordy had been saying stuff about how he put this
your microphone
how he was
lagging a little bit.
How he wanted to get the trailer from Sabrina, and said that it was messed up because she wouldn't just give him the trailer, and there was all this big commotion. And it was like, why would Kelly have a vested interest in the ownership of the trailer? You know?
She has a good interest because he paid off the mortgage before, and then his mom will just finance it, like remortgage it.
Oh yeah, I mean that's what he's saying, but that trailer's been bought and paid for. His mom is the only owner on that trailer.
Yeah.
In my understanding of the situation, that seems to be the case, that she is the only one who owns any of that there. She owns the lot. There's one lot with an empty trailer on it that she put there because she's wanting to rent it. And then there's his lot, which is her old house. And then there's the lot next door, which is her house. And my aunt, there's a driveway directly between his grandmother's property and Jordy's house that goes back behind him, and that's where my aunt stays.
But yeah, I think the other concern is, God forbid his mother passes away. There's no security, there's no guarantee, that it doesn't go to his stepdad instead of to him. So he and Kelly could be screwed out. So I think she's looking out for that.
Right. And that's a good possibility too, but I doubt his mother would do something like that. As far as I know, she doesn't have the will to cut him out completely, which is the only reason he still stays over there on the property. Because if she didn't offer to give him that house, where was he going to go?
One thing they talked about, which once again is kind of like how he lied to her about going on a honeymoon, is they talked about moving to Georgetown, which I'm in South Carolina. I think that would be actually the smart thing for them to do if they could get, cheap enough property there, because then Jordy could have a lot more opportunity, if he's looking for work and stuff like that.
Right.
Did you also?
Well, he's not going to look for work, dude. He's not going to look for work. If he said that he would rather die than go back to work, then that's how he's feeling. He already he gonna make this money online by doing what he's doing? And yeah, his money's really hurt now that he can't stream, but like on the PlayStation, he's still got to be doing things out there to make money, especially online. He's not gonna give that up. He's not gonna give that up.
Yeah, that's what before Kelly, his whole thing was, either I'm gonna stream or I'm just gonna go on welfare, and apply for disability. And now that he has Kelly, which is the crazy part is that he needs Kelly more than anything for her insurance. And if he picks streaming over her and she leaves, that's actually worse off for him. But he's constantly bragged about this, thing that he has to feel like he's more special than the common person. And he said he feels that way about streaming.
Also, do you know about his exes? Yeah. Do you know anything about when he? Can't remember who it was. One of his exes had a family. Shalene, yeah. He brought up their kids. Do you know about that? The whole situation with Shalene?
I was not here during that period of time. I was in New York and Missouri and North Carolina. I had various outside jobs.
But have you heard
during that time? I was
come out. By the way, your microphone is messing up a little bit. Speaking.
Oh, okay. Is that better?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's
so. One of the things that we actually this isn't in dispute. We have video evidence of it. Is that they had dogs and he would get frustrated, streaming into the dogs barking. So he would repeatedly kick the cage and, curse off the dogs. And only a couple of days after he was abusive to them, the dog had a seizure and died.
Yeah.
That's the type of...
I have the clip.
Yeah.
I'm posting it now. You can watch it after the after we finish this first chat. Maybe send it to your mum.
The dog incident. Yeah, the dog incident. I remember this one.
Oh, you remember?
This one was. This is one that my mother actually talked about.
Can you say?
Supposedly, what I heard through his mother was that he didn't really want the fucking dog to begin with.
Right.
It was like a forced upon him thing because he felt like because he was streaming, he wouldn't be able to give, I guess, Kelly enough of his attention. So he got this pet for her. And then it was like, hey, we got this dog. Yeah, let's chain it up outside. Fuck that dog.
Oh, that's different dog, which is
that's
the sad thing that I have to clarify, that he's abused so many dogs. We have to point out which. That was Bongo, who they left it outside, and he claims that it was, he said on a PKA thing with Woody, or a stream with Woody, that it was her responsibility, but the story goes is that the dog was always left outside. It got heartworm to the point that if he didn't take it to the vet immediately, it would have just died. So they didn't even give it the preventative frontline stuff. They just left it out.
Right.
And you said just now it's chained up outside. Yesterday he claimed that they never owned a chain ever for Bongo, but you're saying he's chained up outside, that.
Yeah, it was there was a pine tree to a pine tree, and there was a little dog house, the igloo thing or whatever.
It next to his AC unit, his outside AC unit. Yeah. Okay, so that's the same one. Yeah. Carry on.
Yeah. So you know what I'm talking about then.
Yeah, because he claims he doesn't chain it up, but he just said that yesterday. He claims he never owned a chain. But you're saying you've seen him chained up. Or it's chained up.
That was that dog, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so there's
Whatever
another
that
lie.
dog's name is. Bongo is what you said.
Bongo, yeah.
Yeah.
He's the like big. Well, I say he's big. He should be big, but he's very skinny. You can see his
It
ribs at
looks
one
like
point.
a hog.
At one point, you could see his ribs in one of the photos he took.
Yeah, because his mom was one of the ones complaining about him keeping that dog outside, and he said it was because he said that he only keeps the dog outside so he can use the bathroom, and he brings it back in. And he said to her that he puts the dog out there whenever he's doing streaming because of the dog makes a lot of noise when people come to the door and they're the DoorDash people and stuff. So
Considering he only streams, let's be generous, say 10, 12 hours a week, if that dog's outside so much as mom notices, he just clearly lying.
must have been. Like I said, when I went today, there was no dog outside.
Yeah, he said he brought it inside. And he did that, I think, partially because there were trolls harassing him constantly. So he took pictures on Twitter just to like gloat that the dog's now inside, or that's what he's claiming at least. And
Yeah, but I know
a lot of that is
I know.
because it's because he's had a lot of abuse recently because there's been a lot of things that have been exposed about him, and so he's trying to basically garner pity by doing
And
that
he's
stuff.
had animal-like people show up, or at least he claims that people done animal checks on.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, my aunt is constantly complaining.
About the dogs.
Yeah, because there was some times where the dog would be left out without being chained up, and my aunt has chickens, and so the dog would chase her chickens around, and that causes them to get stressed. And I guess she makes money off the eggs of them. So she raised us to think about it because the dog, when he would let the dog out before to go and use the bathroom and stuff, the dog would be left out long enough that it would just get bored and go chase chickens.
Well, Jordy claims to walk the dog daily.
I don't know about walk.
Have you ever seen him walk?
I don't know. I haven't seen Jordy walk except for like the last month when I saw him at Walmart, and it was like, you know, I mean,
Was it
he
like
can
a
walk
waddle?
around, but you know he's not like fucking walking every day. You know he's not. There's no way. So
Yeah.
I mean, he's big, dude. He's big. Like I'm a big guy. I'm over 300 pounds, and he's really big. Like he's way fucking bigger than me. It's not.
How big would you say is, by the way? Like, if you had to give an estimate, or do you know anything from your mother, like about his weight loss? You know, how big would you estimate him to be right now?
Sabrina had said that at his biggest, he was almost 600 pounds.
Holy
shit. That's huge.
And that he's been around 470, 440, 450 range pretty much consistently.
Now?
Yeah.
He says 388.
He claims to be 380.
No, listen. I weigh 350 pounds, and he is two of me.
Holy shit. I'm sorry. Holy shit.
Yeah. I mean, seriously, my wife, when she first saw him, was like, "Good God, that guy looks like he ate you." And I was like, "Yeah."
You know, he had his stomach removed, like half of it removed. It was only like 3 years ago.
Right. Yeah. And he pretty much immediately went back to the old style eating habits. I mean, and it probably didn't help none that he had access to delivery sites, you know, Uber Eats and things like that.
Yeah,
and he was doing it with, he was doing DoorDash and stuff like that, so he's constantly going in and out of, you know, the drive-through for Wendy's and stuff. He's not just picking up food for the customer.
Yeah. That's what I was trying to say before. That's the reason why he got so big to begin with, is because when he was doing Domino's, he was already heavy, but it wasn't near as heavy as like now. And maybe he was my size when he was working at the Domino's, but he got bigger while we were working together. Because like every evening, whenever there's waste pizza that don't get bought, I mean, that's free to you to use as an employee. You know, it ain't going to nowhere but the trash. So, I mean, when it's there and it's available, I mean, the guy, he didn't drink and he didn't do any drugs. So, I mean, food was, I guess food is his addiction, man.
Well, I don't know if they brought it up, but I had a question about his relationship with his brother because I remember a year or two back there were I don't know whether it was Facebook or Instagram posts, and I think his brother or his sister had a kid, and every single family member was there except Jordy.
Right, yeah, that was Atlas. He's a cute kid too, big damn kid. Holy crap, he was like 10 pounds when he was born.
And do you know why? Like, he's the only one that would refuse to show up.
I don't know what it is about him in public meetings and stuff, but he's just fucking weird, man. Because that's cool. Because he just like I said, even with me, I called him, told him I was coming. He told me to come on. I go there, and he doesn't answer the phone, doesn't answer the door, doesn't come out. I mean,
I think you may have caught him when he was streaming too, because he streamed for a good while today.
Or that he was freaking out over some of the trolling.
Well, I wasn't trying to troll him. I was just going to go and offer him a turkey for Christmas and see,
I think he'd turn you down.
Anything.
Even if he needed it, I think he'd turn you down. He really does snob everybody in Conway. He pretty much thinks he's better than everybody else in that area for no reason.
Yeah, he's talked down. Not directly he said your name, but anybody that's not him and his household, not even his own family, he's everyone's garbage beneath him.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I know that, they call it Dirtle Beach and, Horry County has a reputation, but he acts like he's this, blue blood from Kiowa, like that he's above all of it. Like, I just don't, like, he tries to talk politics and, like, show how smart he is talking about Portugal being in South America. But, like, he's the high school dropout, right?
No, I think
I don't recall him finishing.
You missed the part earlier where he talks about the area Jordy lives in. It's called Bookville, apparently. The street he lives on. It's like really bad.
If you don't mind me asking about
Bucksville,
can I ask you about the economy? He claims nothing there pays well. And I'm talking he makes on average 20 to 25K a year now.
Well, I'll say this about the economy here. I will agree with him that it is very hard to find a job that will pay you decent here because the cost of living is jacked because of the way people live here. We have a lot of people who moved from states where they're retiring with $500,000 to $750,000 in wealth when they retire. And they could come to this area and buy a house for $170,000 and have $500,000-$600,000 a year coming to them. And these people aren't working when they come here. You know what I mean?
That's a lot of Ohio and Michigan.
Right. So the cost of living goes through the fucking roof. But because none of those people are working, there's not really a fucking demand for employees because it's seasonal. You get a lot of work at once, and then all of a sudden there's no fucking jobs, and everybody's looking.
But is it really impossible to find a job that pays more than 25K a year?
I wouldn't say it's impossible. For Jordy, it would be fucking a miracle because nobody's going to hire him because when they first fucking look at him, they're like, holy shit, this guy's late. There's no fucking way this guy's not lazy.
He can't do physical work, and he has no, like, it's not like he has a master's. Like, and the reputation that I know for Horry is that it's like the two biggest exports are human trafficking and, like, meth. So it's, like, not a good area, but, like, he has the opportunity to save up and move, for example, to Georgetown or
Charleston even.
I don't think he could afford Charleston, but when he first got the weight loss surgery, part of his deal of what he said he would do is that as he wanted to get to 250, but he also wanted to go to community college and then either get like EMS or something like that. He just chose while he was getting thin to never go.
Right.
Like he never took the opportunity with, people offering to pay, for community college for him. He just wouldn't do it.
Oh yeah, no, he doesn't have any. Look, as soon as he started making money with the streaming, all bets were off with going outside to work.
Yeah, a lot of you guys missed that he was mentioned that when they worked in Domino's together, he refused to even make a pizza.
Yeah, he would not make a pizza. He said that was not part of his fucking job description. He was there to deliver the pizza.
Oh, okay. Well, agree to disagree.
You think if his mentality changed, because this is one of the big arguments that the trolls make, or the normal people basically, is that he should just get a real job and avoid all of this negativity, since he's created this huge negativity around him. He could just get a real job and avoid it all and just live a normal life. You think if he changed his attitude, he could actually feasibly get a job that pays around 25k a year if he had a good attitude towards work? Do you think it's possible?
If he went and he took his truck back to the dealership and got a cargo van, he wouldn't have to change very much at all to make 25k.
Right. So
he could go and deliver auxiliary for the postal service or UPS, or sign on for FedEx, or hell, even do the Amazon stuff, where you go to the fucking UPS hub and pick up your deliveries for the day and you go deliver.
And he claims
they're
to love
looking
driving.
for people all the time for stuff like that.
He claims to love driving as well, so it's very feasible.
But I'm just saying, he would have to get out and go walk these packages to the doors and stuff like that. Ain't gonna. He doesn't want to do that, dude.
Well, that's what he was doing with Kelly. So he would do like these DoorDash shifts, and he would, show pictures, and you could just tell what he would do. Number one, like he'd take Kelly after she's already worked her full-time job as a way to quote unquote hang out. But he would sit in the driver's seat, have his phone or tablet out with the Braves game on, and you just know who was walking to the door. It wasn't him.
Right. And that's Jordy, man. He's not gonna fucking change. He's always been that fucking guy, the dude that completely content with sitting in his own filth and being online all day as long as nobody bothered.
When you met Kelly in Walmart, you mentioned that stink that you smelled when you were in his home. Did you, when you ran into Kelly, how people have their home smell kind of? Did she have that kind of musk on her too?
No, I think that what they do is they have they must have some type of spray in the car probably before they even go out and about. They probably spray down because they smell like body spray to me.
Well, they brag that, like he says, he's like said in the past, oh, people think because I'm this fat, lazy slob that means that I have like a gross, unclean house. But I keep it, clean and constant, and, talks about showering every day. Do you think either of those were true?
Well, I know that he does use his shower because one of the gripes that his mother had was about the fucking water bill, because I guess they were taking like 2 and 3 fucking showers a day or something.
Well, at least he's keeping himself clean now.
But it's easy to keep your house clean when you have no life outside of one room,
Yeah.
If you go in again, are you going to try to meet up with him again by any chance?
Like I said, I'm going to try and offer him a turkey for Christmas. I mean, because I'm his friend and I live down the fucking street. And I'll try and ask him about some of the stuff that he is going through, because, I'm kind of curious as to what, how this is really affecting him.
I'd look around the internet a little bit before you do that, because Jordy has mastered the art of deflecting anything that's pinned on him. He's amazing at that. That's like the only thing he's actually good at.
He's an excuse generator. That's what he does.
He pretty much deflects
And
the
also,
blame onto everything else.
He's used to having the ability, like when we talked to him yesterday, he wants the ability that he can ban someone or he can mute them or block them, and he can't do that in real life. And, you know, knowing people like that, I just say, like, be careful, like, about what you bring up, because he will obviously just completely shut off and react very poorly with, like, just saying this is troll stuff or, you know, whatever.
Because I had attempted to reach out to him before this, and he was kind of like fucking, I don't know, he was very weird about it.
Is he ignoring
He didn't
you?
want to talk about the stuff that was going on online with me.
So you said he's never going to change. Do you think it would actually be better for him if the choice was taken away from him, if he didn't have to choose to be a better person, if he was cut off from streaming in terms of income? Like, if that was taken away from him, would that give him a better shot of actually bettering his life?
I think that he loves himself too much to hurt himself, if that's what you're asking.
Yeah, I'm saying if he didn't have the option to continue the streaming and make money that way, to put streaming over Kelly, you know, to not look, that it might force him, whether he likes it or not, to make some changes, or at least gives it the best opportunity, as opposed to him waking up and, you know, actually getting a work ethic.
I think that what would end up happening, in my opinion, from how many years I've known the guy, that if you took away his ability to stream, he would have 900 GoFundMes up in minutes.
Do you think he would
be on another platform begging and
he's
complaining?
He's a professional beggar, basically.
Yeah. And
but
once he found out that he could beg and get money, he was set, because he didn't have to get out of the computer.
You stated that you're fearful of, you know, essentially him doing something to Kelly, like taking her down, you know, with him or some shit. Do you see it feasible, him using, he's claimed, I mean, even yesterday, he threatened suicide and then bragged that he had several weapons in his household.
Do you think taken pictures and, like, threatened it before, saying he got, like, ACT and stuff like that?
Yeah, he won't, I think he loves himself too much to do something so stupid. Now, he might try and make everybody think that he killed himself.
Oh,
I could see him doing
before,
something like that.
He's done that before, where he's said, "I'm going to kill myself," and all that stuff, like on Twitter and stuff. He would claim that.
Yeah, so you know that he's not going to hurt himself. He loves himself too much.
He might, but he's doing it for pity, for sure.
Yeah, and he's stuck in a delusion, man. He's created this falseness, and that's what he is now. He believes that is him. It's not a character to Jordy. He is a character, if that makes any sense.
Did you know he used to give
he's become a character.
Shalene's kids an enema, like, every day, even though the doctor didn't say he had to? I think Norm knows.
Yeah, the doctor, so basically what it seems like happened is the kid was having some trouble going. So the doctor, you know, told him, you know, this is a 10-year-old, give the 10-year-old an enema. And then him, in his, you know, retard logic, thinks, oh, I'm just going to give it every single day. And, like, they were talking about how, you know, the kid was crapping the bed because, like, he couldn't control himself. And then that only made Jordy do it more. Like, you know, like, just a thing of the doctor saying one time, like, you know, give it to the kid if he's having issues. Like, he, like, abused the kid with that.
Daily.
No, I don't know anything about that. Is that Kelly's kid? Does she have a kid?
No.
This was Shailene was a previous girlfriend that he was with, that I know he had bought her, like, cars. I think he said that he spent like $80,000. This was back when like he was, you know, really making money. He was able to flex the new trucks and all of that.
This is when he had the deal with what was that company?
Does that sound familiar to you at all?
Machinima.
You know, anything your mom mentioned about that, about him taking care of a woman and her kids?
No, that must have been around the time that he was staying with his grandmother, because I know that for a long time that Sabrina and the grandmother didn't talk to each other. It was like five or 6 years that they didn't talk to each other.
Yeah, I think it might have been
That was
that
probably during that time.
It was before his grandma passed.
I know that his
with the
grandmother,
grandma, with the boyfriend, and all that.
yeah, I know that his grandmother doted on him all the time. He couldn't do anything wrong.
Did your mom attend the funeral, if you don't mind me asking?
He did.
She did. So your mom attended the funeral.
Well, no, not the funeral. The visiting. The visitation is what she went to because she had to work.
Do you
and
know
I
if
didn't
Geordie
go
was there?
because I didn't know he wasn't there. I know that for a fact because my friend Faith, she went to the funeral.
Did people start talking about the fact that he wasn't there? Because it really outraged a lot of people that he didn't turn up.
Because she raised him, and basically what he's done is he's used it as a manipulation thing. He'll start crying and talking about how he can't handle death and like all that. Like he makes it about himself instead of about her.
Yeah,
and,
well, I'm very strict when it comes to being in a graveyard, and it's a problem that I have, and I become extremely fearful, and I wouldn't go to friends' funerals from back in the day because I just couldn't, you know.
Yeah.
And I went to my grandmother's funeral. So
because you cared enough about her. I mean,
yeah,
it's natural that you'd go.
Yeah.
It's also interesting pairing that, like, let's say, just for argument's sake, he has like some mental thing and he had like a breakdown. People act weird, around death and stuff. But the fact that he didn't go to that while everyone else did, but also that he didn't go to something as happy as the birth of his nephew, like that together, like that pattern of behavior.
That was he didn't care enough to even get up and go. That was what that was.
Yeah, I mean, there's no excuse for that.
Yeah. And that's and like I said, that's Geordie. That's been pretty much Geordie's whole life. Geordie won't clean his room, Geordie won't, take out the trash. Geordie won't come out of his room,
How do you recall him around the holidays? Because it's as of recent, he's very like I don't celebrate Christmas. He's even been on notes saying he doesn't celebrate Thanksgiving. Kelly's been wanting to decorate the house, and he's destroyed her decorations and stuff like that. What do you recall in the past about how he's been around the holidays, if you've been with him during this time?
Well, he's very selfish, dude. He's very selfish. He pretty much got what he wanted as a kid growing up. So when he asked for things at Christmas, he would get it, and if he didn't get it from his mom, he'd get it from his grandma or his grandpa. So when that stopped happening, he stopped trying to celebrate the holidays because he wasn't getting anything out of it.
That's very interesting because the picture that he painted of growing up, like all the bragging he's done about how hard he had it, like he had, I think someone sent him like, it was like a taco, but it was like just the taco, like shell and lettuce. And he talked about, I ate, butter sandwiches, and he's bragged about, or he's talked about growing up as a kid, like him and his brother would have to share stuff, or that he would barely get anything, so he had to make the most of what he did.
Well,
like he seemed to paint the opposite picture that of like even bringing up toys and stuff, that like he would ever get games or stuff like that he wanted like that.
Yeah. Early childhood, yes. Me and all right. So before he stayed at Dongola, before his mother moved out there, she stayed in the projects off of 378. And my mom stayed across the street in a little ratted ass trailer park, and we were very poor. We were on welfare, yeah,
Right.
but that was a very short time. That was, like I was 3, 4, 5, 6 years old.
So you wouldn't
Those
remember
times,
it most.
yeah,
You,
that was
That's
way early.
so he's
that's crazy
exaggerating
because
essentially.
Jordy brags like, especially with the phonics and all that, and talked about like, teeth filling and all this. He's painted it as like, yeah, I grew up in the projects. I was in the projects in high school. Like, he's painted it that his whole childhood.
No. He was in the projects when he was in elementary school, and I was as well. I lived on Duck Street for a while.
Do you know about him, like in elementary school? He claimed to be the best runner in his class. And there was a new kid who came in. I can't remember if he was foreign or whatever. And he would beat him in every race. And that's the reason Geordie got fat. That's his.
Oh, I don't know about that. I know that he wasn't always fat.
He wasn't always fat. But was he a
No, he
runner?
was.
Was he ever a runner? Do you know?
I don't know that he did any sports because he wouldn't even play like the baseball program with us, the little league.
What year, like, because what he says, and like, of course he has to flex, he says that if he, could run, for the high school team, he could have been a college or pro player. Like he said, he's that good of a hitter. So was he even playing in like middle school?
I can't even remember a time when Jordy played a sport. If he did, it was like the rec league stuff.
It's so funny to hear this now because you're pretty much calling up on his bullshit, which there's a lot of.
It's a lot of delusion, bro.
I mean, there's another thing I wanted to ask about his name. People claim his name is Sam because there was one time on stream that his grandma called him Sam. Has he ever had a name like that? Or Richard? Has that ever been a name for him?
I think that what that is in the later years, his grandmother was not so good in the head as far as the Alzheimer's and dementia that she had, because she did have both.
Yeah.
And I feel like that she would just use familiar names from back in the day on him sometimes. Right. I believe because there was times when she used to call Carl different names as well, and that was her late husband.
Richard came from a legal document that we saw. I think it had to do with who owned the trail or something like that. Like, that wasn't from his grandma.
Yeah.
Oh, Richard Peavy?
Richard what, sorry?
Richard Peavy? Is that what you're referring to?
Who's that?
Richard Peavy was the grandmother's late boyfriend. He was the last person that she was with after her husband
died. Do you know about Levi? A guy named Levi?
We call him Gunslinger Levi.
Yeah.
No, that name doesn't ring a bell to me now.
Damn. That would have been awesome.
But I do know that his name is Jordy Jordan.
Okay. Damn it.
So, we brought up the holiday thing, which, by the way, his first time was that someone wished him a happy Thanksgiving, and that he went off on the guy saying he wasn't even American. But we like the holiday thing, and then the Kelly abuse thing. Like, aside from physical abuse, one thing that we noted is that when he was, kind of trying to get her to marry him, she's a devout, Christian, and so is her family, and he's a militant atheist. Has he stopped her from being able to go to, Christian services and stuff like that?
I wouldn't say that he stopped her. I would say this, that it's mildly embarrassing to go to church without your spouse.
So Kelly is pretty much having to rough it out every time she goes to church. Like, people look at her in a different light.
If she goes, I mean, like I'm saying, she may not even attend church services because she would feel embarrassed not to be there with her husband.
Well, that's like what the culture is in South Carolina. Like, so much goes on there. Like, that's completely understandable. But he, like, laughed at her once openly when she wanted just not even, the regular, service. She wanted to go for Christmas. He would just laugh at her, saying that he's not going anywhere.
Yeah, there was one time she was trying to convince him to go to church with him just for Christmas, and he didn't want to go.
Yeah.
Is that something uncommon in South Carolina? You would have an atheist like with a Christian wife, and it wouldn't.
Well, I mean, stranger things have happened. Me and my wife are vastly different when it comes to religious views.
Right.
But
But Jody's situation is still like looked down.
A lot of people date and marry people that they're compatible with, and it doesn't seem like that was the case when they got together.
Well, that's what our theory was, and big ups to Edmonton Skeptic for all this. But there was a lot of talk that, because he talked to her family as well, that when he was back with her, number one, pointing out she was basically a 40-year-old virgin, and she had cancer, and even though she was likely to survive, she was afraid of dying alone. And all the stuff that we heard is that he really kind of played off on it. Like, he really took advantage of her.
Yeah.
Cancer.
I can definitely see that.
If you were at the end of your life and you felt like you were at the end of your life, and this guy turns up and he's got money.
Well,
he really wants to rush things. Like, what would you do?
Yeah. I believe he pretended he had money. I believe he sweet talked her into all the stuff that he had. I own land. I own my own place. Bullcrap.
Oh yeah.
And that's what he bragged
didn't find out anything at all until after they were married, and now she's like, "Well, what the hell?" And this guy just basically
she's stuck with him now.
Catfished me. Not like physically catfished, like altering the appearance, but I definitely, if you're lying about your income and your well-being before you marry somebody, that's catfishing.
And that's the weird thing, is that he, even yesterday, what he did was he was openly, he's done it a lot, bragging, whatever she wants, I'll buy it. But the weird part is, and she's even talked about it, is he will, she'll want a MacBook for Christmas. He will use it as an e-begging thing. She had to get tests. I think it was a cancer screening. All of a sudden, that was a way to beg, and she was really pissed at that. So he's been using money with her in this really weird, controlling way.
Damn. That sounds pretty on par for Jordy. I'm gonna be honest, man. Like I said, it's as long as he's got a way to beg and get, he's gonna do it, man. He's that personality type has always been his way, man. He's always been real lazy, and he tries to get what he can get out of everybody, man.
He told her that she had to suck it up when she was worried about her cancer screening to see if it was still in remission.
Yeah.
She was about to cry, and he was like, grow up, suck it up, quit being a baby.
Grow up and deal with it was the exact quote.
Right.
She thought her cancer came back, and she was really worried. He didn't even bother Googling afterwards, what the doctor had told them after it was clear or something. They went to the doctor. He didn't bother Googling what it was, the diagnosis. He just told the chat and expected the chat to tell him what that means, rather than doing a simple Google search himself.
Or talk to her.
Or go there with her and ask the doctor, like a regular person would.
Right. Yeah, I don't see that marriage lasting very long, dude. I said that whenever my mom told me that he was getting married.
Would you say
in the first place?
Would you say that he had an honest nature?
I'll say that whenever we were young, that he was the one who tried to keep us from doing mischief. Because mainly me and Kenneth were the ones that wanted to do the boy stuff.
Right.
Let's go let's ramp across this ditch. And he was more like, no, we're not going to do that. That's stupid. You could hurt yourself. I'm going to go tell him type person.
So he was telling
So somewhere, yeah, and that's how he would bully you into doing what he wanted to do. Because every time you go contrary to what he wanted to do, he would threaten to tell on you, or try and blackmail you into playing something different. I'm going to tell that we did this. Yeah. So I mean, good natured. I mean,
so he's always talked down to you and Kenny. Like he's talked to you like he's above you.
Jordy's always been like that, by the way. Yeah, go on.
Well, the worst experience I ever had with Jordy, and it was one where I wanted to fight him, and Kenneth wouldn't let me fight him. We were like 10 or 11, and he had just got Mortal Kombat. It had just came out. He got the very first game system out of the three of us. He got it. And so I had never even played video games. So him and Kenneth had played all the fucking time because they lived there. And, Jordy didn't have anybody to play against besides Kenneth. So when I came over, it was like, hey, you have to play. Hey, you have to play. Hey, you have to play. And it was like the one day he beat me like 6 fucking times, right? Back to back to back to back to back. He was spamming moves where he'd like catch you against the wall and just fucking keep you from doing anything at all. And he knew all these fucking combos and shit and finish moves. And so I got pissed off because, I was losing and losing and losing, and I didn't want to play no more. And I was like, look, I don't want to play. Let Kenneth play you. I don't want to play you. And he's like, no, you have to play. You have to play till you win. And I'm like sitting there like, I'm done with this. I don't want to fucking get trashed every fucking time I play a game.
Right.
But he's like, no, you're a bitch. You're just bitching out. You can't play and talking shit to me. So I was like, I'll just kick your fucking ass. You want to talk shit to me? I'm trying to tell you I don't want to fucking play, and you're forcing me into this shit. And it's just, and Kenneth's like, no, you guys don't need to fight, and we're just gonna go outside and we'll do something else. And we just basically left him in the fucking room playing Mortal Kombat on his own. And it was just like, that was the worst experience to me because it was like, he didn't give a fuck about, to want to play any other games. He just wanted to beat me at fucking Mortal Kombat because he was better, and that was the whole fucking,
and he's
the whole fucking thing.
Like he's always been
like crazy. That, yeah. 25 years later, you look back, that's the same thing where, Woody's talked about going at him because he would, demean and shit talk Woody's skill. That's why he got in a situation with Bog. It's like, it seems like the only validation or, self-worth he cares about is, whatever nonsense scoring in a video game. Like, it's KD, right. So all that matters.
Right. And he got on World of Warcraft. And he was into that World of Warcraft. That was when the worst of it was, when he was in the room and stinking, and he didn't take company, and he didn't acknowledge anybody in the house or shit like that.
Did he used to like rage in front of you? Because back in the day, before he got on the the Lexapro, he used to rage a lot on stream. So I can only imagine off stream when he loses. Was he a really sore loser?
Oh yeah. The one time that I can recall him getting in bad trouble, he supposedly hit Kenneth with a chair.
Holy shit. Over what?
WWE.
Do you know?
And when he went to hit Kenneth with the chair, he broke the one TV he had for his game, and then he begged his grandma to buy him another one because Sabrina wouldn't buy him.
And his grandma
because
gave him.
I guess Kenneth had beat him in a game that they were playing.
Wow. His own brother.
Yeah. And he would get like that. And constantly, one time we went over and me and Kenneth were hanging out, and this was back, I was probably 15 or 16. And I remember Kenneth went in his room and was messing with him because Jordy had a vehicle to drive at that time. So we were trying to bug him into going and taking us out. You know what I mean?
How old was he?
17, I think.
17. He had a vehicle, and he's talked about eating more.
Yeah. And then he freaked out on Kenneth about it, started yelling and screaming, and then he turned the fucking like growling rock shit up like max on his computer and his subwoofers he has in his room. And it was like so loud you couldn't even fucking hear yourself at all yelling. And he just basically sat there like staring at Kenneth while Kenneth's like trying to fucking talk to him and playing the loud fucking music until we just left.
Like, he's always been the center of his own world. Everything revolves around him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can really see that through everything in his life.
Definitely.
I mean,
and I feel like, there's been all these little videos online of the real story about Jordy and stuff, but it's like the reality of it is like there was no time when Jordy was a good guy. Like there was no back in the day remember when Jordy was good, was a cool, wholesome creator on YouTube? No, there was not ever that.
Well, that's a really interesting thing from your perspective, because there's been all these like different things people say. Like, number one, he says, which obviously now proven false, that he's a character. Like, he tried yesterday saying he's an actor, like Leonardo DiCaprio. That's right. His online behavior. But he said, I think it's more like
I think it's more like Heath Ledger style. Like he started off a character and now it is him. You know what I mean?
But what about so one thing that Woody has said in the past when talking about him that I'm curious about your perspective, he said that Jordy, as a guy that's making a lot of money, that's like a big name streamer, is a terrible person, especially because of his ego. But if like Jordy before, like being a big time streamer, like he was a completely different guy. Like, what do you think of? Like, do you think that like he was scummy before he made it big, or is it that all of a sudden he became a big guy and it got to him?
I feel like that when Call of Duty started allowing you to have voice chats and voice lobbies, that it went from fucking bad to worse for him. Because he was on there and he was able to say whatever he wanted to people without them really knowing who he was. And then that shit started translating into his streams. And then it became this, he started becoming what he was saying to these people, to him, the people who are supporting him are faceless masses that he's never going to fucking see again. So he doesn't really care what he says because it is what it is. You're online and he's in real life, But
so it's everyone's a mark.
Right.
What is the community's view of him? Sorry, what were you going to say now?
Soon as his streaming went to that level where people started more watching him to see what outlandish shit he would say. He wasn't that great of a player. I mean, he was, but he wasn't that great of a player. He just had a stream before anybody else had a stream. He was on there, doing something that nobody else was doing. And when that style got popular, he basically rode the wave because he was the first one there. And then when people started seeing what he really was, that's whenever everything started falling apart for him. His views started dropping. He's not getting the same amount of attention anymore, so the shock value had to go up. So he started.
What do you think of that shock value? Like that? So his whole thing, like he cited his narrative would be that he says things like, I think the legal age should be 12 years old. Oh, I watched a young guy get his dick sucked. We should have, underage hookers on our show. He said that was all just to get views for PKA, and he was doing a Howard Stern, Opie and Anthony type thing. How much do you think it's him, being a shock jock versus like him and his personality? Because I had shared, it was only a year ago, he was saying that if his son was being bullied by a woman, like another girl, that he wanted him to, beat her up. That like
Right.
if a woman gets, into it with a guy, that he has every right to treat her like a man.
Right. He said that a lot of times.
Shot versus him.
But I don't recall any time where Jordy's ever been in an actual fight in my life. So more than likely the talk is just talk. He's trying to put an intimidating persona out there so that nobody will bother him.
Mm-hmm.
Like I got a gun and I'll shoot blah blah blah. I guarantee if you went to his house, he would not try to shoot you. He might pull the gun on you and threaten you, but I guarantee you he would not shoot you. Because he's just...
He claimed he shot his own dog at one point.
I think
that's
that
true?
honestly he's just afraid to be beat. Because his whole life he never had a hand laid to him. And now he's an adult that doesn't know consequence. So when he says shit like that, he doesn't expect anybody to backlash. And then when he sees the backlash, like you guys do in the troll channels and stuff, he's fucking genuinely surprised because he doesn't know how the fuck shit actually works, You can't just say whatever you want to people.
Now. Like, he has a whole denial thing going. Like, he just takes no responsibility. He just says, like, the trolls are the worst people ever.
Right.
They're fucking with
and that's what
livelihood.
That's his MO. He's gonna constantly make excuses. It's never gonna be his fault. It's never gonna be his fault.
Well, that actually makes a lot of sense. Like, I know people like that like, I've been in fights, but like there's those scummy people where it's like they think there's an invisible shield protecting them, and that they can just talk shit, and then they can talk their way out or apologize or play victim, and they've never had the moment where it's like, well, you're just getting hit anyway.
Right. And that's Jordy's problem, because see, Jordy, if you wanted to fight him, the first thing he would say is, do I really look like somebody that would be able to fight back? All you're going to just do is just beat up somebody who can't defend themselves.
Right.
That's what he would say. Exactly what he would say. That's what he would say. You're just trying to beat me up because I can't defend myself. I'm just a fat guy. All you got to do is just kick me in the knee and stomp on me. That's his way of thinking. Because even if he's got a gun, he's going to be like, well, you're attacking me. I have a gun and I need the gun because the gun is going to protect me from you. And it doesn't matter. He could have an AK-47 and you have nothing. And if you challenge him to a fight, he's going to play like he's the victim in the situation.
Have you this is like a change of subject. I was wondering, have you spoken with his sister, any time after? I know you mentioned that she had a crush on you and you kind of just like stopped hanging out with them, but have you touched base with her as of recently or anything like that?
No, I try not to talk with them because it's one of those things. Their family is mutually friends with my family. So it's like, with that situation going on, it wouldn't be wise for me to converse with her any at all. So I just don't.
Do you think it's still weird? You mentioned what he did to his sister. Do you think it's like, that's why she doesn't let him see her kids or anything like that?
I mean, like I said, I don't know one way or the other if that actually happened. All I know is that rumor came directly from my mother, from his mother. So
there's no other link there. Like, his mother is the closest person to his sister and his brother. There's no room for error there, really. It's not like a Chinese whispers sort of thing.
Yeah.
Would you? I mean, you can. I mean, obviously, if you don't want to, you can say no, and I'm not going to hassle you about it. But would you think if you asked your mom today, "Hey, mom, just out of curiosity, around this time, do you think she would tell you?" Hypothetically,
I mean,
what?
When I talked to her about it, she said that some strange things were said between Jordy and her, and when he was confronted about it, he did not take any at all. He didn't try to deny what he said at all. He tried to justify what he said, and that it had something to do with her anatomy and odor, if what the rumor is true.
So he said
that because she was experiencing her time of the month, that she stunk and that he could smell it, and that's like dogs in heat or something. And his mom, I guess the sister told the mom about it, and then the Sabrina went to him and asked him, and he was like, well, women do stink whenever they have that, and blah blah, and that's a natural thing. I don't know what the fucking deal is or what the big deal is. Like, no, dude, the big deal is that it was fucking inappropriate for you to say about your sister.
Well, that's what he justified recently. He said about he's had different excuses. He said that the age of consent should be 12. First he said, oh, this is shock jock PKA stuff. Then he said, I knew 12-year-olds that were having sex on the regular, therefore it's okay. Like, anytime, and we had proof he did this. So the fact that he's doing the exact same behavior as something he was caught actually doing and saying,
yeah, that's what red flagged me on the whole thing.
The problem is, there's people who defend him to the end. They'll defend him to the end no matter what you show them. Those people are sort of delusional. They pay him a lot of money.
And he's probably making them money, and he's probably owns several of the troll channels.
He pays some of the troll channels. I mean, he gets paid by them. Sorry.
But yeah, some people say that all the trolls and the troll server and stuff, that we're all just dummy people. Either we just want to be able to bully somebody or something like that. But it's no one would be doing it for multiple years if it wasn't for him. Me personally, it's don't harm animals, don't harm kids, don't harm women. I'm doing all that.
Well, I will say this: if you really wanted to kill Jordy's streaming career, the easiest way to do it would be for everybody to just stop. If everybody stopped posting anything at all, he wouldn't have a relevancy.
It's funny. That's something he's said before, but
because the trolls are literally
I don't believe
him.
That's true. Because
every single video that I get recommended on YouTube is always a troll channel. I never get recommended for any of his streaming or nothing.
Yeah, I don't think that's true. I'll tell you why. Because there are people who pay him so much money that it's insane. Those people will never stop coming in. Some of them end up turning into trolls. I used to pay him money, but I stopped doing that because he's a piece of shit, basically.
Well, right, and you felt bad after a while that you're trying to help this fucking guy out, and he doesn't give a shit.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
the troll channels are necessary, essentially.
Yeah.
The two things I would say that dispute that is, as Ty said, number one, he's this obvious manipulator. He's very good at putting off that, I'm the, person. So he he has the same name as his brother, not the same person. He had a mod named Kenneth who was just as, fat, who had, suicidal thoughts. So he will attract and kind of manipulate, just like he did with his wife. He has this community of people he will manipulate with that. So he will always have new victims coming in. And then there's the fact that having been around seeing the troll channels come and go, you'll have some people who it's like, my job is to inform everybody, what kind of scumbag he is, and hopefully something gets done. But then you'll have, there's some people who are like, oh, I saw Sean Ranklin had that famous vid. Everyone wants to see his highlights. So I'll just either set up a Patreon or I'll, monetize the vids, and then I'll give him a cut. And I don't care either way because, I can get clout and attention and money off of it. Or they just want to, laugh about it. So there will always be those kind of people that are coming and going. So it's better to have people that actually want to inform and stop him than to just let the other people.
If you guys will give me a couple days to go through photo albums so that I can get some pictures, I'll get pictures. And last time I tried to talk with him, it didn't go fucking very well. But this time, since maybe I'm coming with a gift, it'll be well received. I don't know.
Maybe record on your phone. Like if it goes really bad, like if you want to, this is again not forcing you. Like because if it goes one way when you confront him about this stuff, I assume you're gonna ask him something. Then at least you've got that as actual proof, rather than
because I really just want to fucking get closure on it because it's been bugging the fuck out of me.
Please do at least record it, because we can point out things that he said in the past and give you clips to prove some of the things he might say to you to try to defend himself, because he deflects a lot, and we can at least prove that stuff.
And then when you prove it, he'll cut it off.
Right, and then if because like I was saying to my mother, because I asked my mom if it would be appropriate for me to go and talk to him about all this, and she said, all he's going to do is just fucking deny.
Has your mother
and
Sabrina
won't come out and say exactly what the hell happened. So
right, they're like hiding it, and understandably, I think Geordie has forced her not to talk on these things within the community.
Well, I don't know about all that.
Well,
but
what's that?
Speaking of ways to help, so I know you personally not wanting to necessarily reach out to Kelly, but one of the big things with people like this is in how emotionally abusive they are. They kind of take their spouse and they cut them off from the world. That's why I was asking about the church stuff. Do you know anybody who either is friends with Kelly or knows friends of Kelly, or knows her coworkers, or at least someone who can reach out, that then she would have a support group, or people can check up just to make sure that she doesn't end up wasting time where she could get away from him, but she feels trapped.
Right, I get what you're saying. Does anybody know where she works?
Something. I can't remember what the name was.
Okay. So she would be working at the front desk at one of these places.
Yeah, I believe so.
Or she's the cart person, or I think she's talked about dealing with insurance in the past. But I just know there's so much in Myrtle Beach with all the hospitals there, all the different places there. That is one.
Well,
it's Orangeburg where there's 2 doctors off. There's a shit ton of she could work.
Right, exactly. Well, my sister, she works for Coastal Orthopedics, so she would probably be able to know all the chiropractors.
Yeah.
So that was how I was going to try and find out, have my sister reach out.
I think Kelly might also be in some sort of denial. He brushes off. There's one time he hit her on stream, legit, he hit her on stream. And since then, every time he's on a game that's a first-person shooter, like Call of Duty or something like that, he kicks her out of the room, essentially, if she ever wants to come in to talk to the chat. Because a lot of people like her in that chat, and I do. She's a really cool person.
he cut her off from talking to Moz. Like, and the emotionally abusive thing was she broke down crying on stream, and I think it was like a good 10 minutes. You could hear her crying in the other room, and he just kept playing, ignoring her. And then he kind of did the, laugh to himself, roll my eyes. Oh, I gotta take care of the problem. And then an hour or two later, almost like at gum, he basically made her start up the stream in the car, then and to show everything.
That nothing happened. Yeah.
Oh.
And the thing is,
emotional.
He didn't know that people knew they could hear her crying until people started typing it in the chat. And eventually, because he ignores his chat, the people who donate to him, he just ignores them. Eventually, he looks over that way and he sees in the chat, Kelly's crying, Kelly's crying, Kelly's crying. Obviously, he can hear it, but he didn't know we could hear it. And then when he could, he ignored it again. And then he was just sort of smirking to himself and laughing about it, the fact that she's crying. And he just said, she cries at the change of bariatric pressure in the atmosphere or something like that. That was his excuse.
He meant bariatric, but that's once again his brilliant intellect.
Yeah.
The bariatric.
Yeah, that's what he said.
Yeah, bariatric pressure. Yeah. I don't know what the hell that is.
That's what he said.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. But yeah, like I said, am I okay to come back into this Discord thread?
100%.
You're always welcome to talk here. Yeah.
Make sure to talk here. Of the servers, I know you're in that other server called Planet Wings. Make sure to join this one and speak in this one, because the other one is a public server and other people can see the messages.
Yeah, I would assume anything you said publicly or in anything that the majority of people can see in that server, if you were in there or say anything there, assume it will be seen. Whatever we record or anything, of course, that's just for our use. I
got you. Well, I'm gonna get off here. I gotta go and do some dinner for the kids.
Thank you for coming out.
So,
we really appreciate your time.
Like I said, you're welcome. You guys have a good night. It was very nice talking to everybody.
You too.
You too, man.